I'd like to start by thanking everyone that came out on Saturday. The blackout and the rally towels, and it was you could feel the crowd, which is exciting. It was a big help for us in winning our first MAC game. Obviously, it was exciting to keep the trophy, keep it in its case where it belongs. It was exciting for our seniors to win it at home there during their last year, and we got to get over it quick because we got a big game coming up. We're on the road this Saturday going to Toledo. Obviously a really good team, really good test. I want to say good luck to Coach Murray. Our hockey team's getting started. I'm a big fan of everything he's got going on. I know Coach Hawkins and the men's basketball program are holding their breakfast this Saturday morning while we're in Toledo. Final thing with Central is, I thought our team played well. 3 quarters we played really well. Still got to fix some penalties. Discipline things that we need to get better at, and I was happy with the way our defense played, and excited about the growing process that we're continuing to ride together. So with that, I'll take questions.
Toledo it's been a big game for a long time. How do your players feel about it, and how do you feel about it now?
It's an exciting game, right? It's one of the games you look forward to. They're obviously preseason number 1, and they've looked like it. They're playing like it. Their offense is clicking. Their defense is number 1 in the league in scoring defense. I think they're number 2 in the league in scoring offense. And so it's a big challenge. We got to go to their place, tough place to play, and so it's everything you want. They're the best, if not one of the best at everything in our league, and we get to go play them on Saturday.
Twitter is good for a lot of things.
Is it? Can you tell me? Tell me one of them. No.
Random stats.
Random stats.
You are the only program in the country, from the one thing that I saw, that has a top 10 passer and a top 10 rusher in the country. How valuable have John and Levante been for you?
Oh, huge. It's I've preached. 2 years ago when I kind of took the offense over, I preached that we have to be able to do both to win the whole thing, and because there's going to be days we're going to need both, and we've been working hard, and I give all the credit to those guys for believing in it, the O-line and the running backs for buying into the passing part of it, and the receivers and the quarterbacks for buying into the running part of it, and when we have games like the first game where we threw for 400 yards, or then Georgia State where we run for 400 yards, they start seeing how valuable it is to have both, and you're going to need to continue to have both, because we're going to play some really good football teams that are going to take away certain things, and we need to have answers. And when you're playing, we talk a lot about trying to be the best. And one thing they talk about, when you're the best, you're playing the best teams like we're playing this weekend. They're really good, and they're gonna take some things away, and we don't know what, but we got to be able to have answers and still be able to move the ball.
Coach, in the past, the Western Michigan Toledo games kind of been a shootout. It wasn't that long ago. Each team scored in the 60s when they played each other. Now it's the number 1 and number 2 scoring defenses against each other this weekend.
And the number 1 and 2 scoring offenses against each other. So, I think our defense is, they played great. They had a shutout going for 3 quarters. And I was so proud of the way they've been playing. And we took a team that we knew was number 1, I think, in the country in the red zone in Central Michigan, and we were stout in the red zone. And they moved the ball a little bit, but they didn't hit pay dirt. And Toledo's done the same thing. Toledo's let people move the ball on them. And if you look at yards, which I'm not a big yards guy, they've given up a pretty good amount of yards, but they don't let you in the end zone, And so it could be a defensive struggle. It could be a 50. I don't know what it's going to be. You have 2 quality teams, and their quarterback got hurt last year in this game. Our quarterback got hurt last year in this game. They'll both be back and playing, which will be nice, and it's going to be a fun game. Our guys are excited about it, and excited just to go out there and get better, and because we've been getting better, a little bit better every single game, and we're excited to put ourselves to the test against a really good opponent.
They're obviously coming off a huge win against BYU. When you get a team that's hot like that, does that amp you up a little bit more beforehand?
I think it makes you, it just puts you on edge. We played We played Georgia State after beating Tennessee. We played Central right after they almost beat Miami. And you know you're going to go in there. You don't expect them to roll over, you know. You're not, you know, we always say you trip over molehills, not mountains. Like, you know this team's ready to play. They just beat BYU. I mean, they played without losing their quarterback. They played Kentucky really tough if their quarterback didn't get knocked out in that game with the targeting call. So they could easily be undefeated. And so we know that it's a good team, and we have to go out there and play our game. That's the key, though. We got to go out there and play our offense the way it's. We can't play outside of ourselves. We got to go out there and be us. And I think if we can do that, then you got a good shot.
Took a look at the penalties, I'm assuming now. Did you see anything that stood out to you that is maybe a reason?
Well, not all of them are on tape. I've seen a couple of them. And we've all paid the price for that. Every single player, not just those guys. We do it as a team, you know. So Monday was a really long day for the players. You'll see A.J. up here in a minute. You'll see his arms are a little bit bigger than they used to be. But it's something we talked about. I know we had a player only meeting on Monday morning that I was not invited to, that John ran. Just about those little things. Those are controllable things, and it is an emotional game, and it is a rivalry game, and that's great. But we got to keep it between the whistles, you know. And so that's all I'm going to say about it. I mean, some of them I agreed with, some I didn't agree with. Some you always see the second guy, not the first guy. But we can't be either guy. You know, we got to be better than that, and that's what you're glad it happens afterwards, you know, because now we learned it now instead of the next game, you know. And so it's definitely been a huge part of what we've been talking about, and we're excited to move on. And just one other thing that you learn that you can grow from.
Defense starting to get some turnovers now. I think you're tied for the lead in the MAC in turnovers gained by your defense. Has that been an area of emphasis?
Huge, yeah. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I mean, we talk about touchdowns and turnovers. You know, that's if you come in our building, I'm a touchdowns and turnovers guy. I have a little mathematical formula that I put together on how you win games, and those are the two things. And yards mean nothing. Although a lot of people like to say you're leading, you have more, you've given up this many yards, or hey, your offense has this many yards. I don't think any of that stuff really matters. When we take care of the ball, you know, when we score touchdowns, we win, and when we limit them to field goals and get turnovers, we win. And you're starting to see it. It's been fun to watch our defense not get frustrated if they get a couple first downs, because then they lock them down in the red zone or hold them to a field goal or get a turnover, and they're doing a good job of getting their eyes to the ball and running to the ball. You know, one thing we do have great team speed on defense, so we run. So even when they get through the first layer, I mean, we got some guys hunting, you know, that can get there fast and just limit a big run to 8 yards. You know, that if we were lazy would have been a 30-yard run. Now it's an 8-yard run. They got to do it again and again and again. And once they're starting to understand, you know, how you can be a dominant defense, and I think they're believing, you know, and man, I think they're looser, and it seems like they're playing a little bit faster even, and confident enough for Tranquil to do things like give him the bang post read, because you know he's reading you, and then redirect and intercept the ball, which was all on you. You know, and so I think the game's starting to come to them as they get better at running this defense, because once again, they're all freshmen. We're about halfway through the season. They're all starting to understand this defense better, and you're starting to see different results.
Hey, Tim, we look at Toledo on film. Is it similar to Toledo team that they've had in the past? Dynamic offense, guys out wide, or fast?
Yeah, they're the same. You know, they've been having more success with the run game. They've always been able to run the ball. They got all brand new wideouts, thank God, because those wideouts that they had were unbelievable. The new ones are really good too. I think all three are on NFL rosters from last year. So those guys are getting broken in, but they're very similar. They can run, they can change direction. Their quarterback can run. They've been using him in the run game a little bit more, and they got some exciting running backs. You know, so I think they're like 5th in the country in yards per rush. So they can run the ball, and quarterback can run the ball, and they're still explosive, though, you know. Even without the pass game, their runs are big chunk plays, and then their defense flies around the same way they always have. So it's they've been winning with the same brand of football that you've seen, and that's brought them so many wins in the past, and we gotta play against it better than we have.
AJ, big win against Central. Defense that performed well. You guys forced turnovers, kept them off the board for a long time. Just generally, how much confidence do you feel like your defensive unit is playing with right now?
A lot of confidence. We didn't put out our best performance against Syracuse, but we found a way to bounce back against Central. We had a lot of fun out there. I think that's something that stood out to me. We had a lot of fun. We played with confidence. We played fast. So that helped us a lot in the Central Michigan win, and that helped us a lot down the road.
What do you see from Toledo on tape?
Very dynamic offense. They're running the ball. Like Coach said, they've always been able to run the ball, but they're running the ball a lot more effectively this year. Obviously, they had 3 dynamic receivers last year. They still have a lot of dynamic weapons this year, but just the running game is something that one extra thing we got to worry about. So.
The Glass Bowl, one of those unique MAC venues. You talk to the young guys about playing on the road at Toledo at all?
I haven't, but it's just another field, another turf. It's nothing big. It's not a big deal about it. It's nothing big about it. It's just Toledo, Glass Bowl. So.
AJ, when you came in as a freshman, you kind of started on the special teams unit. Is that something that, when you become a safety, it kind of helps you as far as flying around, getting the ball, and then talking to the other maybe the freshmen and tell them, hey, do your job on special teams, and you can be A.J. Thomas someday?
Yeah, the special teams definitely plays a role in defensive and offensive. Like once you get your role on defense and offense. From a defense perspective, I play kickoff and punt return, and then kickoff especially helps with defense because you just run and hit. That's the memo. That's what you do. So it definitely helps.
What's maybe we make too much of it, but the value of starting 1-0 in the MAC, from your perspective, what is that?
It's huge. It's just getting off to that good, just a good start. Like it just gives us confidence going into the next game. Just being 1-0, but we can't dwell on that 1-0. We have to be 1-0 this week, so you just take it week by week.
Coach was saying that forcing turnovers has been a point of emphasis. How much do you guys discuss that amongst yourselves? And I guess, is it a point of pride when you can take that ball from them?
We discuss it every day. It's part of our memo. The acronym we use is BET, and the T stands for turnover. So that's something that we practice every day. We have a turnover circuit that we do every week. So it's huge, and it's a focal point every week.
What do the B and E stand for?
Big plays and effort. So.
AJ, in 4th down situations, is that something that you guys obviously work on in practice with 4th and goal and that type of thing? I know at one play you kind of looked like you timed up the snap count. Is that something that you kind of felt that Central was giving away the snap count, or just something that happened in that 4th down situation?
The 4th down stop was just understanding the situation. They were on 4th and 1. The clock was still running. You want time to run extra plays, so they had to get it off quick. I doubted they was gonna try to go on 2. So I did hesitate a little bit just in case they was trying to go on 2, but I guessed right and made the tackle.